This is the conform feature for ADR Toolbox. What we're going to look at tonight is this thing right here called conform, and it's under this conform button at the bottom of the main window. So there's two things really I want to draw your attention to is the change note window, which is right here. You can access it by hitting Apple 7 or going to the show change note window. And then again, this feature as well. First, the change note window. Anytime you want to do a change note, you have to add a change note here. And the way you do that is you hit open. And I've got some change notes here already selected. I'm going to load a bunch of them. You can load many at one time. In addition to being able to load many change notes at one time, if you have multiple change notes within a document, the program is savvy enough to split those up into separate documents. So if you were to open up one document that had 5 change notes in it, maybe a picture note and 4 track notes, the program would then give you show you 5 change notes here. So we've added these, and I'm going to go ahead and delete these because I don't really care for them. But I just wanted to show you that you can load many at one time. And you can keep these in here, and they'll be here for indefinitely. The neat thing about the program is that you can see your note here. So we're looking here at this change note for reel 4. The title that you see here is taken from here. Let's actually go to this one. The title for this is right here. You can see new and old. We have all of our events. This is a short change note, but this is the reel we're going to actually conform. It's got 144 changes, 144 feet and 3 frames of changes. When you are looking at a note, the first thing that you look at is your original view. And in the original view, each event is on its own line here, and it matches event for event the original note. If you go to condensed, which is how the change note feature of the program works, it's going to, well, in this case, it's going to give you a line for a line event. But let's look at another note here. Let's look at one that's a little gruesome. There we go. That's perfect, actually. What we have here is it shows you a swap. So what it's done is it's taken events 5, 6, and 7, and it's treated it as one event, which it probably is for the purposes of the change note. So it treats it as one event, and when it swaps, if there's a queue over a swap, if there's a queue, an ADR queue that you have inside of a swap, the program will just mark it as to check. Okay? Back here under the edit view, we have check and deleted. Anytime a queue is completely deleted by a change note event, it's marked here. It's left in the program, okay, in this bin, but it's marked as deleted. If the head gets trimmed up a little bit, the tail gets trimmed up or lengthened, if the middle gets expanded or shortened, it gets marked as to check. If something happens inside the event where part of the event gets moved to another part of the reel, then that queue, perhaps like a long group queue, because this typically happens with group queues, that part of that queue now will exist in 2 places, and there'll be 2 queues. So the purpose of that is that it helps you draw your attention to the fact that you've got 2 places now where you have to get coverage. So let's go back to conform here, or let's go back to our window. You can also edit in here if you choose. So let's say I want to delete this first event. I just select it, hit delete, and I hit reload, and it loads it. So now that first event is gone. If I don't want to do that, I can always go to revert, and it brings my note back. You always have the ability to go back and get your note. Okay, options here is just a place where I've decided to put, if you need to massage your note a certain way. Don't really worry about this though right now. It's not really applicable. Unless you're a geek. So hit close. Okay, so we're going to select our first change note, and we're going to conform reel 1 version 13 and bring it up to version 16. And we can see here that there's 7 events in here, 3 insertions, 4 deletions, for a total change of 144 and 3. So let's go here back to the program. What I've done here is I've simply just gone. I've selected my version, which is reel 1 version 13.1, and I've selected my change note, which is reel 1 version 13 going to reel 1 version 16, and I've told it here now this is the version I want to put it in. Okay, I can type this in here right now if I wanted to. I can type in real one new conform, and that's a new version. The versions here and the versions here match the versions you see in here. Okay, so we'll come back to this. And these change notes match the change note window I just showed you. But we're going to go ahead and put our conform real into real 1 version 16. And I'm going to hit conform. Now the program asks you a couple of questions, okay? It says, what do you want to conform? Do you want to conform all the cues in the version, or do you want to conform the cues you have selected? So when it asks you, do you want to conform the cues in the version, what it's really saying is, look, do you want me to go through the whole master cues folder and find every cue that exists that it has the version real 1 version 13.1? And I've made this the default for a very important reason, because sometimes we forget to put things in places where we want them to be. And in this case, we'll come back to this. In this case, when you look here, this says real 1 version 13.1. Okay? It says it has 30 cues. Well, I discovered, because I went and tested this prior, just did a run through before I did this, that there's really more than 30 cues in there. And so what you can just drag this out here. Oops. Just drag this out here, put it up there, and we can see there's actually 32 cues in there. So when I ask you, okay, when I ask you, do you want to conform all the cues, this is sort of why I've included this. Now you can select these cues and just conform them individually. Perhaps you want to conform just a few cues, maybe group cues or something like that. You have that option, but just know too that sometimes, you know, you make mistakes, and the idea behind this is to preclude you from making mistakes. So we're actually going to hit all cues. And now it's going to ask you, where would you like to place the cues? You can either put them in a new bin, which will come over here, or, you know, you can leave them in the current bin. Okay? The benefit of putting them in the current bin is that if you have picture attached to your version, okay, you can click on your cues by number, and then, you know, you'll have one. Well, let me just show you. Okay, click on current bin, and it has 62 cues. Right? It has 62 cues. Why? Because there were originally 32 cues there. So it actually caught the 2 cues that were actually not in this, that were not originally in this folder here. But we're going to go ahead and sort by number. Okay. So now you can see something interesting here. You have Q1000, but you have it at real 1 version 13.1. You have Q1000, but now it's at real 1 version 16. So if you open up your movie window, which I don't have movie for this because it's an actual feature, when you select go from movie to movie, the movie window will show you the place where you originally queued it at, and then now it'll show you where it is after you've conformed it. So this is really handy when it comes to checking your changes. Now, anytime a cue is changed in the least bit, this check field is marked. C is little c is check. It's not cut, it's check. And D, if a cue gets deleted, it gets marked as deleted. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back and we're going to find our cues here, our real 1 version 16 cues. Okay, and we're actually going to put them in their own bin. We're going to, oops, yeah, I put them in there. We're actually going to get them out of here. Okay, so this is real 1 version 16. Alright, and so let's go ahead and check the tail pop cue I created. I created a tail pop cue and I put it at 2,000 feet. And I did this just so that after I went through all the changes, I would know if I had done all the if the changes were actually done properly. So what I did was here I typed in 1855 and 13, and I typed in 144 and 3, which is the length of the total change. And the ultimate change was, the original length was 2,000, so I have some good confidence that the note worked as advertised. So that's the conform feature, and I'll show you rebalance now.